What's going on, everybody? So, today we're going to be looking at this new Ragnarok Thor, and we're going to try to take this guy and turn him into a regular Thor. Now, I would just buy the 80th Thor, but that guy's kind of going for like 40 to 50 bucks right now, and I got this one for $27 at Target with my circle rewards. If you're not doing that, I would suggest doing that. It kind of pays off every once in a while. But so I kind of just thought this would be a simple eye repaint, but after getting him and then kind of seeing other people's, I realized the regular head, not the robot head, the helmet's kind of dented on most of them. So this turned into a whole helmet switch slash eye repaint. But I'll show that in just a second. Right now, we're pulling all this out. Also, the Mjolnir that this came with is kind of loose, the handle into the actual hammer. I don't know if everybody's is like that, but mine definitely came like that. So what I was most excited about this though was this giant spinning hammer effect. I kind of messed with this for a few days after getting this, but this is my favorite part of the Thor. Now we're gonna go ahead and get this regular head out, and I'll show the dent here in a little bit. But after we pull this one out, I hate how they do these capes. I always feel like I'm gonna rip the cape every time I pull it out. But this head turned out pretty good. I mean, if you just wanted this one, I think this is a really good head sculpt for this one. The eyes are kind of too red in my opinion, but I think it looks really cool. But I primarily wanted this to be a regular Thor, so let's look at the other head. And it's kind of hard to tell on camera, but it's like clearly there's a defect with the helmet here. And I've checked eBay listings, and they all look like they have this dent. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and heat both these heads up, and let's see if we can pop the helmet off. So when I do this, I usually put water in the microwave for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then let the head sit in there for about 30 seconds, maybe a minute, and just kind of go to prime. My first attempt, I kind of ripped the hair out. You'll see later in the video. But I feel like I got the other helmet off pretty good. The one I didn't want, of course, turned out pretty good. But it's kind of just a process of putting the head in, letting it get hot, and then pulling. Putting the head in, letting it get hot, and then pulling. It took me a while to get these off. They use a lot of glue on these, and especially when I realized the helmet and the hair were two separate pieces as well. I kind of had to take it a little bit slower than usual, but eventually I got it off, and as you can see, I kind of ripped the hair off with it, but I mean, I just kind of glued that back, and it wasn't really a big deal. The wings also, I realized, were different on both helmets, so I ended up swapping those. I didn't get that on video, though, but those weren't too big of a deal. I just kind of cut them off and then glued them onto the other helmet. So, initially I thought the helmets would be the same, and the heads would just be molded to fit the helmet and just be different heads, if that makes any sense. But I quickly realized that the heads and helmets are completely I put the hair on backwards on this part, but the heads and the helmets are completely different. Like, it's a completely different peg system and everything, so they completely remade the head helmet for the new one. Also, this is terrifying. I hate this. It looks like Pinhead, and it looks kind of terrifying. I put it on the head on the body later, you can see. But see, this one kind of wedges up with the front and has like a peg in the back, and the other one has, well, this is the helmet on. Anyways, the other one has the pegs on the side and like a mohawk thing going on. And so I had to trim down this pinhead. I ended up cutting a little bit too deep, as you can tell. But I trimmed it down until eventually it kind of just like squeezed in there. I didn't really trim down the helmet at all because I didn't want to end up cutting through that. The head's not a big deal because the ball peg's not going to pop through because it's going to be glued on the helmet. But I think it turned out pretty well. Also, this is terrifying. I kind of thought about leaving it like this. But I just kind of dumped a lot of super glue in there and just put the head in there, and it worked out all right. I figured I would break something and ended up having to buy another one, but uh, after I trimmed it down, it all went together pretty well. The helmet is a little crooked in person, but you're not able to see it, so it doesn't exist. After I glued it in, I put a lot of glue in there and ended up having to come back and kind of glue the hair down to the face. But this is after all the glue, and you can see it looks pretty natural. I did swap the wings. I didn't show that. You can see now it's different wings. And after I did all that, I wanted to get rid of the red on the eyes. So I saw on Facebook somebody said that underneath the red, they painted it white. So they painted the eyes white and then painted them red. And so if you take a magic eraser and just kind of rub away the red, you can have the white, and then it makes it way easier to paint the white in the eyes. I was too impatient for this. I scrubbed and I scrubbed, and I used this paintbrush in to scrub, and I could not get the magic eraser down in all the gaps to get all that red off. So you see, I kind of took this isopropyl alcohol and put it on a Q-tip and just kind of wiped away the red with that. After doing that, I ended up having to repaint some of the white, but as you can see, it turned out pretty good. I hate painting eyes, but these are a game changer. So these are water slides for the pupils, and you just kind of cut them out. You'll see how small it is in just a second. And then you just dip them in water for like 10 to 15 seconds, and then you can just slide it on like a sticker. I don't know if you ever used water slides, but these are extremely small and extremely hard to work with. I've went through 20 for 3 figures in the past, but these are way easier than actually painting the eyes. I'm awful at painting eyes, so this made everything way easier. So you just kind of get them wet and you slide them on there, and then I usually use these small tweezers to kind of position it on there, and then I use an X-Acto knife to get it on there really well. You got a long working time. I mean, as long as the eye's wet and the water slide is wet, you can just keep moving it around until you get a good spot for it. This first eye you do, I didn't do it here. You probably want to take like a pencil or something and mark where you want the center of the eye to be. That makes it way easier to line it up. But I just kind of slide it around with this X-Acto blade until I get it in a good spot. And then I take this Q-tip and I just dab it on there to kind of get all that water out so it'll stick a little bit better. And then you just wait for it to dry. It's kind of a tedious process, but I mean, it's better than having to paint that whole eye. So here's after I did the other side. I think it turned out a little bit he's looking a little bit to the left, but I mean, it doesn't bug me. So I think it turned out all right. After this, I wanted to spray it with a matte spray to make sure to get all that glossiness away. Because when you slide on the water slide, some of that sticker sticks on there and makes it all glossy. So here it is after the matte spray. And you can see, you can't really tell that it's a water slide. It looks like it was just painted on there. So the matte spray really helps. But then after you take that matte spray, you want to take this gloss coat top. I'm about to do that right here. But that makes the eye really pop and look like a actual eyeball. So here it is after the gloss coat. And you can't really tell on camera, but in person it's pretty noticeable. Because you don't want just a flat eye. You want it to be glossy. So here's the final product. And I'm really happy with this. I'm really happy how it turned out. I mean, there's some spots that I wish that I would have done differently. But, I mean, I got my Thor. And honestly, I kind of like these eyes better than the 80th one. Those were still, they looked kind of rough. But this one with the water slides, I think looks way better. If you try this one out, go ahead and let me know how it went in the comments. Hopefully this video was helpful. I like doing customs like this, so I'll try to upload some new stuff. I do Black Series and Marvel Legends and Halo figures. I'm working on a Master Chief right now. I'll try to find the eBay listing for the Pupils, so maybe that can help y'all out. Thanks for watching, and subscribe if you want to see anything from me in the future. Thanks.